For many centuries, the people of Bhutan lived without money as we know it today. Their economy was based on barter, a system of direct exchange. A farmer with extra rice could trade it for wool from a herder. A craftsman who made wooden bowls could exchange them for salt or butter. This system worked well in small, close-knit communities where everyone knew each other and could agree on the value of their goods. People traded what they had for what they needed, a simple and direct way of doing business. Life was tied to the land and the seasons, and wealth was measured in livestock, grain, and practical items, rather than in stacks of coins. This barter system extended beyond Bhutan's mountainous borders. The kingdom was not isolated. It was part of a vibrant network of trade routes connecting it with its powerful neighbors. To the north lay Tibet, a major trading partner. Bhutanese traders would make long, difficult journeys across high mountain passes, carrying goods like rice, lac, and handmade paper. In return, they brought back valuable items from Tibet, most importantly salt, which was scarce in Bhutan. They also traded for precious wool, tea, and religious items like statues and thangkas. This trade was essential for both sides, providing vital goods that were not available locally. To the south lay the plains of India, offering a completely different range of products. Bhutanese merchants would travel down from the hills to trade in markets in Bengal and Assam. They brought forest products like musk, medicinal herbs, and hardwoods, which were highly prized in India. In exchange, they acquired cotton textiles, metal tools, and other manufactured goods. Sometimes foreign coins from India or Tibet would find their way into Bhutan through these trade networks. However, these were not used as everyday money by most people. They were often treated as bullion, valued for the weight of their silver rather than as currency. Living on a barter system had its challenges. It required a double coincidence of wants, meaning you had to find someone who not only had what you wanted, but also wanted what you had to offer. This could be complicated and time-consuming. Imagine trying to trade a large yak for a small amount of salt. It was difficult to make a fair exchange. As Bhutanese society grew more complex and trade became more important, the limitations of the barter system became more apparent. The need for a more convenient and standardized medium of exchange was slowly but surely growing, setting the stage for a major change in the kingdom's economic life. The 17th century was a time of profound transformation for Bhutan. Before this period, the land was a collection of valleys ruled by local lords who often fought with one another. This changed with the arrival of a remarkable Tibetan Lama named Ngawang Namgyal. Fleeing religious persecution in Tibet, he came to Bhutan in 1616. He was a brilliant military strategist and a charismatic spiritual leader. Over the next few decades, he successfully defeated his rivals and unified the country under a single system of government. He established the dual system of governance with a spiritual leader, the Jkenpo, and a political leader, the Drukdesi, bringing peace and stability to the land. With the country unified, Ngawang Namgyal, who became known as the Jabdrung Rinpoche, embarked on an ambitious program of state building. He constructed magnificent fortress monasteries called dzongs across the country. These dzongs served as centers of administration, religion, and defense for each region. Building and maintaining these large structures, supporting a growing community of monks, and running a central government required a huge amount of resources. The old system of collecting taxes in the form of goods like grain, butter, and cloth was inefficient. The government needed a more practical way to manage its finances, pay its officials, and fund its projects. This new, centralized state created a pressing need for a standardized form of money. A national currency would make it much easier for the government to collect taxes in a uniform way. Instead of storing vast quantities of perishable goods, the state could collect taxes in coins, which were durable, portable, and easy to count. A currency would also stimulate the economy by making trade simpler and more efficient for everyone, not just the government. People could sell their goods for coins and then use those coins to buy whatever they needed. breaking free from the limitations of the barter system. The introduction of money was a logical and necessary step for a unified and ambitious kingdom. The idea of coinage was not entirely new to Bhutan. As mentioned, coins from neighboring regions like Tibet and the Koch Kingdom in India sometimes circulated in the border areas. Bhutanese leaders saw how these currencies worked and understood their benefits. The Zhabdrung and his successors realized that issuing their own coins would be more than just an economic tool. It would also be a powerful political statement. A unique Bhutanese currency would declare the kingdom's sovereignty and independence to the world. It would be a symbol of national identity, a sign that Bhutan was a unified and self-governing nation, distinct from its powerful neighbors. The first official coins minted by the Bhutanese government were not made of silver, but of copper. These early coins, known as matram or shetram, likely appeared in the 18th century, sometime after the country's unification. The decision to start with copper was a practical one. Copper was more readily available and less expensive than silver, making it suitable for producing a large number of low-value coins for everyday transactions. These coins were not meant for large-scale international trade, but for use in local markets. They allowed ordinary people to buy and sell small items like vegetables, salt, or yarn without having to barter. This was a major step forward for the Bhutanese economy. The production of these first copper coins was a simple affair. They were not made in a large, centralized mint like in Europe. Instead, they were produced by skilled artisans, likely working under the supervision of government officials in the dzongs of Punakha or Thimphu. The method was straightforward. The coins were cast in molds rather than being struck with dies. This casting technique resulted in coins that were often irregular in shape and weight. The quality could vary significantly from one batch to another. While they may seem crude by modern standards, these first copper coins were a revolutionary innovation for their time, marking Bhutan's first foray into creating its own currency. The designs on these early copper coins were simple, yet meaningful. They did not feature the portraits of rulers, which was common in many other parts of the world. Instead, they were decorated with Buddhist symbols. Common designs included the Wheel of Dharma, which represents the Buddha's teachings, or other auspicious symbols from Buddhist iconography. The use of these religious motifs was significant. It reinforced the close link between the state and the Buddhist religion in Bhutan. The coins were not just economic tools, they were also small reminders of the spiritual values that formed the foundation of the newly unified kingdom. Every transaction became a small act within a Buddhist cultural context. These first copper coins served their purpose well for many years. They circulated widely within Bhutan and helped the economy to grow and modernize. They provided the government with a new tool for managing its finances and helped ordinary people in their daily lives. More importantly, they established the tradition of minting in Bhutan. They proved that the kingdom had the capability and the authority to produce its own money. This experience paved the way for the next major development in Bhutan's monetary history: the introduction of a higher value coin made from a more precious metal. The copper matram was the humble but essential ancestor of Bhutan's silver coinage. The success of copper coinage created the demand for a higher value currency. While copper coins were perfect for small everyday purchases, they were inconvenient for larger transactions. Paying taxes, buying land, or engaging in significant trade required carrying large, heavy bags of copper coins. The solution was to introduce a coin made of a more valuable metal silver. The first Bhutanese silver coins appeared in the second half of the 18th century, likely around the 1780s. These coins were known as tanka, a name borrowed from similar silver coins that were widely used across the Himalayan region and India. Their introduction marked a new level of sophistication for Bhutan's economy. The primary reason for minting silver coins was to facilitate trade with Tibet. For centuries, Bhutan had a trade imbalance with its northern neighbor. The salt, wool and tea that Bhutan imported from Tibet were often more valuable than the rice and forest products it exported. This difference was often paid using silver bullion or foreign coins. By minting its own silver tankers, Bhutan could settle these trade deficits with its own official currency. This was a significant assertion of economic independence. It meant that Bhutan was no longer just a user of other countries' money, but a producer of its own internationally accepted currency, at least within its regional sphere of influence. The production of these first silver coins was more complex than the casting of copper coins. They were hand-struck, a process that required more skill and equipment. First, a silversmith would melt silver, which was often obtained by melting down foreign coins or silver objects. This molten silver was then poured or hammered into sheets, which were cut into small, roughly circular pieces called blanks. Each blank was then placed between two engraved metal dies, one for the front and one for the back. The upper die was then struck forcefully with a heavy hammer, impressing the designs onto the silver blank. This process was done entirely by hand, which is why the coins are often irregular in shape, and the designs are not always perfectly centered. The first silver mint was likely established in the capital, Punakha, under the authority of the Druk Desi. The coins produced there were modeled on the silver tankers of the neighboring kingdom of Nepal, which had a long and respected tradition of silver coinage. In fact, some early Bhutanese tankers are so similar to Nepalese coins that it can be difficult to tell them apart. This was likely a deliberate choice. By mimicking a well-known and trusted currency, the Bhutanese government hoped that its own coins would be more readily accepted by traders in Tibet and elsewhere. This was a practical strategy to ensure the success of their new and important venture into silver coinage. The design of the early Bhutanese silver tankers was, well, deeply symbolic. They blended elements from a shared Himalayan artistic tradition with unique local motifs. Now, the coins were not dated in the Western sense. Instead, they featured a complex and beautiful pattern of Buddhist symbols. A very common design on one side was the 8-petaled lotus, with a different auspicious symbol, or tashi tagye, placed within each petal. These 8 symbols include the endless knot, the treasure vase, and the victory banner, each carrying deep meaning in Buddhist philosophy. On the other side of the coin, you'd often find a geometric pattern of squares and lines, sometimes containing characters from the Bhutanese script. Though, to be honest, these were often stylized and a bit difficult to read. These coins were officially known as Druk Tanka, or sometimes Gaden Tanka. The metal used was silver, but the purity could vary. Early on, the silver was often of a high grade, as the coins needed to be accepted in international trade, where they would be valued by their silver content. However, over time, the silver content in some issues was debased, meaning it was mixed with less valuable metals like copper. This was sometimes done as a way for the government to make a profit from minting, but it could also damage the coin's reputation. The coins were also inconsistent in weight and size, a natural result of being handmade. A typical tanker weighed around 5 grams, but this could fluctuate significantly from one coin to the next. The circulation of these silver tankers was widespread, but they served a different purpose than the copper metrons. While copper coins were for the local market, silver tankers were the currency of regional government, big business, and foreign trade. They were used to pay taxes to the central government, to finance large construction projects like monasteries and bridges, and to pay for expensive goods imported from Tibet and India. Wealthy merchants and powerful officials would have used these coins regularly. For the average farmer, however, seeing or using a silver tanker might have been a rare event, reserved for very important transactions like paying an annual tax or buying a valuable animal. The silver tanker was more than just money. It was a powerful symbol of Bhutan's identity. In a region dominated by large empires and kingdoms, issuing a unique silver currency was a bold declaration of sovereignty. Every time a Bhutanese tanker was used to trade in Lhasa or Kalimpong, it carried a message about the Dragon Kingdom's independence and its distinct cultural and political system. The intricate Buddhist designs advertised the country's deep spiritual heritage. The circulation of these coins helped to solidify the idea of Bhutan as a single, unified nation, both within its borders and in the eyes of its neighbors. The silver tanker was, in essence, a metallic ambassador for the kingdom. The 19th century was, honestly, a pretty turbulent period for Bhutan, and these changes were reflected in its coinage. The central government, which had been strong in the previous century, began to weaken. Power shifted to regional governors, known as penlops, who ruled over different parts of the country from their mighty dzongs. The most powerful of these were the penlops of Trongsa and Paro. As their influence grew, some of these regional leaders began to mint their own coins. This resulted in a decentralization of coinage. Instead of a single national currency, Bhutan now had several different types of coins being produced in different regions, each with its own subtle variations in design and quality. A major event during this period was the rising influence of British India to the south. Tensions grew between Bhutan and the British over control of the duars, the fertile plains at the foot of the mountains. These tensions eventually erupted into the Duar War of 1864 to 1865. Bhutan was defeated and, under the Treaty of Sinchula, was forced to cede the duars to the British. In return, the British agreed to pay Bhutan an annual subsidy. This event had a significant impact on Bhutan's economy and coinage. The loss of the fertile duars was a major economic blow, but the British subsidy provided a new and reliable source of income for the government, paid in Indian silver rupees. The influx of British Indian silver rupees into the Bhutanese economy had a profound effect. These rupees were machine-made, of a standardized weight and purity, and were trusted throughout the region. They began to circulate alongside Bhutan's own hand-struck tankers. Many Bhutanese people and traders started to prefer the reliable Indian rupees over their own, more irregular coins. In response, some Bhutanese mints began to produce coins that imitated the British Indian rupee. These new coins were often larger and heavier than the traditional tankers, and even included attempts to copy the portrait of Queen Victoria, though these were often crude and highly stylized. This period saw a great variety in Bhutan's silver coinage. There were the traditional tankers still being produced by the central government, regional issues from Paro and Trongsa, and new larger coins imitating the British rupee. The quality varied dramatically. Some coins were of good silver, while others were heavily debased with copper, appearing reddish or grey instead of bright silver. The designs also became more varied and sometimes cruder as local mints tried to copy complex patterns with limited tools and skills. This chaotic and diverse coinage is, I think, a perfect reflection of the political fragmentation and external pressures that characterized Bhutan in the 19th century. The turn of the 20th century marked the beginning of a new era of stability and modernization for Bhutan. The internal conflicts between regional governors came to an end, largely thanks to the efforts of Ugyen Wangchuck, the powerful Trongsa penlop. He consolidated his power, unified the country once again, and cultivated a positive relationship with the British. In 1907, in a historic assembly of monks, government officials, and representatives of the people, Ugyen Wangchuck was unanimously elected as the first hereditary king of Bhutan. This event established the Wangchuck dynasty and laid the foundation for modern Bhutan. As the first king, Ugyen Wangchuck was keen to modernize his country, and this included its currency. He sought to end the chaotic state of coinage that had developed in the 19th century. One of his key reforms was to centralize the minting of coins once more. He stopped the regional mints from producing their own currency and worked towards creating a single, uniform national coinage. With strong support from the British, who valued stability on their northern border, King Ugyen Wangchuck began to introduce coins that were more standardized in weight and design, moving away from the irregular, hand-struck tankers of the past. Under the new monarchy, Bhutan began to mint new types of coins, though the old ones continued to circulate for some time. The British influence was undeniable. In 1928, during the reign of the second king, Jigme Wangchuck, Bhutan started to issue machine-struck coins for the first time. These coins were produced using modern minting equipment, which may have been imported from India. This resulted in coins that were perfectly round, with clear, uniform designs. One of the first machine-struck coins was a silver half rupee. It featured traditional Bhutanese symbols on one side, and on the other, a portrait of the first king, Ugyen Wangchuck, a clear departure from the anonymous symbolic designs of the past. These new modern coins were a powerful symbol of the new Bhutan. The use of the king's portrait on the coinage was a modern practice that reinforced the authority of the monarchy. The standardized high-quality production demonstrated Bhutan's commitment to modernization and its ability to adopt new technologies. While the traditional hand-struck tankers, with their rich symbolic designs, were a product of old Bhutan, these new machine-struck coins represented the kingdom's future. They circulated alongside the Indian rupee, which was still widely used, but they proudly asserted Bhutan's status as a modernizing independent monarchy. The mid-20th century brought rapid changes to Bhutan and the world. And, honestly, these changes spelled the end for the regular circulation of silver coins. After India gained independence in 1947, Bhutan began to forge a new relationship with its southern neighbor, signing a treaty of friendship in 1949. Under the leadership of the third king, Jigme Dorji Wangchuck, Bhutan embarked on a major program of planned development, opening up to the outside world after centuries of isolation. The country began building its first roads, schools, and hospitals. This development required a more modern and robust financial system than the old coins could provide. The cost of silver on the world market was also rising dramatically. By the 1950s and 1960s, the value of the silver metal in a coin was often worth more than the coin's face value. This is a situation that always leads to the disappearance of coins from circulation. People would hoard the silver coins, melting them down to sell the raw metal for a profit. It no longer made economic sense for the government to mint coins out of a precious metal for everyday use. Around the world, countries were abandoning silver for their circulating coinage and switching to cheaper metals like copper, nickel, bronze, and aluminium. Bhutan was no exception to this global trend. In 1957, Bhutan took a major step towards modernizing its currency by introducing a new set of machine-struck coins. This included a nickel coin called the Naya Paisa. This was later followed by the introduction of the Ngultrum in 1974, which was pegged at par with the Indian rupee. The new coins were made of base metals like bronze, nickel, and aluminium. They were durable, cheap to produce, and suitable for a modern cash economy. With the arrival of these new coins, the old silver tankers and half rupees were officially withdrawn from circulation. Their long history as the backbone of Bhutan's currency had finally come to an end. Although they were no longer official money, the old silver coins did not vanish completely. Many families kept them as heirlooms, treasured reminders of their heritage. The coins were often repurposed into beautiful jewelry, such as necklaces, earrings, and decorations for clothing, a practice that continues to this day. Silversmiths valued them as a source of good quality silver for their craft. In this way, the coins transitioned from being objects of economic value to objects of cultural and sentimental value. They became relics of a bygone era, physical links to the history of the Dragon Kingdom before the age of paved roads and electricity. Just as the story of Bhutanese silver coins seemed to be over, it began a new chapter in a completely different form. In the 1960s, a global market for modern commemorative coins began to boom. Mints around the world realized that there was a strong demand from collectors for beautifully designed, limited edition coins made from precious metals like silver and gold. These coins were not intended to be used as money in shops, but were created as miniature works of art and investment pieces. The royal government of Bhutan seeing an opportunity to generate revenue and promote the country's unique culture, decided to enter this market. Starting in the late 1960s and continuing to this day, Bhutan has issued a stunning array of modern commemorative coins, many of them struck in pure silver. These coins are produced by leading international mints, such as the Royal Mint in the United Kingdom, or private mints in Singapore and Germany, using the latest technology. This allows for incredibly detailed and complex designs that would have been impossible in the past. The coins often feature full-color printing, special shapes, and incredibly high-relief engraving, making them highly attractive to collectors worldwide. They are legal tender in Bhutan, but their metallic and collector value is far higher than their face value. The subjects featured on these modern silver coins celebrate every aspect of Bhutanese life and culture. Many coins depict the country's rich biodiversity, showcasing endangered species like the tiger, the red panda, and the black-necked crane. Others commemorate important national events, such as the coronation of a new king or anniversaries of the monarchy. A large number of coins are dedicated to Buddhist themes, featuring intricate designs of deities, mandalas, and auspicious symbols, continuing the tradition of the very first Bhutanese coins. These coins act as global ambassadors, introducing collectors everywhere to the beauty and heritage of the Dragon Kingdom. This journey from hand-struck tankas to modern collector pieces represents the full circle of Bhutan's silver coin history. The old coins were made by hand in Bhutan for the purpose of trade and taxation. The new coins are made by machines in foreign countries for the purpose of international collection. Yet a common thread connects them. They are both powerful expressions of Bhutanese identity. Whether it is a simple, irregular 18th century tanka with a lotus design or a brightly colored modern silver coin depicting a dragon, each piece tells a part of the story of this unique and fascinating kingdom, a story captured in the enduring luster of silver.